Hey guys, I'm recording this video. This is your video for reading whole group for Thursday, March 19th. So this video is for Thursday, March 19th for your reading. Couple things I want to address before we get started is you guys had books that went in your packet the other day, and some of you are confused about them and I didn't have a chance to explain them. So what we're going to be doing probably next week, because I don't want to overwhelm you guys, is we're going to be doing book studies. So there's a couple book studies. Some of you are going to be in The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. That's going to start next week, so you don't need to start to read this yet. It's going to start next week. You're going to be doing it in small groups. Some of you are in the BFG group. That's going to start next week as well. And then my other group, you actually have 3 novels, and those are the people who have Polar Bears, Past Bedtime, The Best Christmas Pageant, and the one in the middle is The Green Kangaroo. So those books, set them aside. You are going to need them. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump into our whole group reading lesson. For this lesson, I need you to get out your ready book. Remember, you can pause this video, especially if you're doing it with someone, to talk about what you're learning about. So you should be on page 258 of your ready book. That's lesson 16. So what we started doing yesterday is we started talking about point of view and character's point of view. So think in your head what that is. If you're with someone, tell them what you remember about a character's point of view. Character point of view is how the character thinks or feels about something. And how we determine it is by looking in the actions in the story. We're going to look to see what these characters are doing and what they're saying. We're going to take all those clues together, and then we're going to make an inference. We're going to determine what their point of view is based off of the clues. So we're going to continue to practice this. We're going to read a story called Night Flying Friends, 258. And I'm going to try to do this as best I can on the classroom. I can't project in my son's room, but I'm going to do the best I can. So we're on 258, Night Flying Friends. And the first thing I'm going to do as a reader is I'm going to preview this text, and you should be looking while I'm reading. You should have something in your hand to make some annotations with. Looking through this really quick, I can see there's some dialogue because I'm seeing those quotation marks, so it's probably going to be a fiction text. Probably a problem, solution, lesson learned, but it is a short text, so we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and start to read. And I will tell you, in this story, there's going to be 2 characters. You're going to have Alec and you're going to have Max. And what our goal is we're going to determine what Alec and Max's point of view is on the other character. So they're going to have a point of view actually on each other. So I'm going to go ahead and start to read. First paragraph. Last week, I was perched peacefully on my favorite branch in a tall oak tree, watching everything with my big owl eyes. Suddenly, I became aware of a strange creature flying crazily through the air nearby, swooping this way and that. What was his problem? Then the creature flew towards my branch, landed next to me, and hung upside down by his feet. That's when I saw he was a young brown bat. Before I could say anything, he started chattering. He talked a mile a minute about all the bugs he had eaten and where he had been flying. Then he said, "By the way, my name's Max. Good talking with you." A moment later, he let go of the branch and flapped off. Had I said a word? So I'm going to pause there. Great readers pause while they read to think about what they've been reading. So it sounds like I've met my 2 characters. In the second paragraph, we met our character Max. So going back, I'm going to see who he was. We had 2 characters. We had the bat, and then we had an owl. In paragraph 2, going back to make sure, Max was talking, and he said that he eats bugs. So that's something I'm going to keep in my mind. And I'm keeping in my mind that Alec, in paragraph 3, if I continue reading, says, "My name is Alec. I hooted after him. Not that I cared if he knew." So he's the one hooting. So this is our owl is Alec. So maybe I want to make a note in my picture so I remember that Alec is my owl. And my bat, my cute little bat, is Max. I'm going to put a little M there so I can remember my 2 characters. The weird thing I found when I was reading this is in paragraph 3, Alec said, "My name is Alec. I hooted after him. Not that I cared if he knew." Now, I know me, if I don't care about somebody, or I don't care what they think about me, or I don't care if they want to know what I have to say, I'm not thinking too much of them. So already based off of this clue in paragraph 3, I'm thinking Alec, he doesn't care too much for him because he doesn't care what he has to say. Let's go ahead and look in paragraph 4. We're going to continue reading our story. The next night, though, I found myself hoping Max would come back. So at first, Alec doesn't care if he knows his name, but now he's hoping he comes back. So I'm seeing a little bit of a change. True, his strange ways troubled me. He liked to eat mosquitoes and flies after all. But we are both creatures of the night and we can both fly. And it would have been good to have someone to talk with. When I finally saw him, I swooped through the air towards him. "Hey, Max," I said. "Want to stop by my branch after dinner?" "Sounds good," he said. Then we flew through the night together, our first flight as friends. Let's take this and we're going to break it apart now, and we're going to look for these clues to determine their point of view on each other. You're going to look at your next page, 259, and we're going to do our graphic organizer that's in the Ready book. This is what we're doing together. This is going to be something you're going to take a picture just like yesterday and upload. So let's go ahead and let's look at Alec, and let's look at Alec's actions. Okay, what do we notice about Alec? In the beginning, we see him sitting on our branch. Remember, he's our owl. And he sees Max fly towards him. So I'm going to go ahead and write down that's what happened, that he was sitting there and he saw an owl fly towards him. Or excuse me, he saw a bat fly towards him. So I'm going to write he's sitting on a branch. Sitting on a branch. And then Max lands near him. And then I also think something that was pretty important that he said was that he didn't care if he knew his name or not. So he said he didn't care, but then he continued in paragraph 4 saying he was hoping he would come back. So at first he didn't care, but then he hoped he came back. So based off of these clues, I'm thinking that at first he thought Max was kind of weird and didn't really want anything to do with him. But then he realized, hey, we can be friends. We have something in common. We were both creatures of the night. So for his point of view, based off of especially I think the really big evidence was what he was saying, I'm going to say that at first he thought Max was a little weird, but then learned that they could be good friends. So I'm going to write that down because point of views can change. So at first, and this does not need to be complete sentences, we're just writing down our thoughts. So at first, he thinks, and I'm going to write Max with just letter M, just going to make an abbreviation, is weird, but then wants to be friends. So I'm writing this down in my graphic organizer. I'm going to show it to you guys what I got here. Best I can. Zooming in. We all got to learn how to do this. Virtual learning. So what you're going to be doing next is you are going to go ahead and show me what you've just learned about point of view, about finding their actions, what they're saying, what they're doing, and determining their point of view. So you're going to work on Max now. In your graphic organizer, you're going to go ahead and you're going to write down what Max was saying, what he was thinking, what he did, and what his point of view is on Alec. So that is what your job is. You're going to upload a photo of this when you are done. I am also going to be having you do a response on 262. So if you go to 262 now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you about it. Or you can pause this video, do your graphic organizer, and unpause it. So on 262, it says, what is your point of view about each of the characters? Is your point of view the same or different from those of Max and Alec? Support your response with details from the text. we were really just starting to do a lot of writing in class before we had to have this virtual break. So I'm going to be really trying to walk you guys through this writing. I want you to make sure you are starting with a complete sentence. So the question is, what is your point of view about each of the characters? You should be writing Max's point, my point of view about Max is. My point of view about Alec is. And you need to have evidence. I think this because. I feel this way because. So you should be having a complete sentence about both characters. You also should be telling me why you feel that way. That's your evidence. Okay, that's you supporting your answer. And I want you to reread it and make sure that it's making sense. You have capital letters. And on the other side, there's even a little checklist that you can use to make sure that you're doing it correctly. Once this is done, you are going to, I want to say you were going to upload it. I'm recording this the day before, so I'm still trying to decide what I want to do in my head. But I think what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you actually type this up. So I want you to write it in your Ready book. I want you to write your answer in the Ready book, and then I'm going to have a Google Doc where you can actually type up your answer. So when you click on the assignment, it's going to say create, and you're going to create, the document will already be there. You're going to open it, it's going to label it and everything for you, and you can type it up. And if I need to come up with a little tutorial, I'll do that too. So let's breathe one step at a time. We're learning about character point of view, how a character thinks or feels about something, and also learning about how your character, how your point of view might be different based off of any evidence that you see. So we're going to go ahead and finish our graphic organizer. We're going to upload a photo of that. You are also going to be doing the writing response that is on 262. You're going to write it in your book, then you're going to type it up. Okay? And then that's going to be all for your whole group reading. Okay? All right, guys. Virtual Learning Day 2. We got this.